Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 24 updates and spoilers. Boy, do I have a crazy show for you. I hope you're ready for some fireworks. Our house guests of the day are Brady Mathiasen and Thomas Milligan. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a hollow. Woo! Oh my goodness. I can't. Yesterday was one of the most magical days of feeds ever. So when we left off yesterday, the house was a chaotic masterpiece. The leftovers have taken control of the game. So that's Joe, Kyle, Turner, Monty, Michael, Brittany, and Taylor. So they were tired of being on the outside. They're ready to shake things up. And boy, did they shake things up. So everyone outside of the Leftovers Alliance was assuming that Taylor and Nicole would be going up as the replacement nominees, and then they just vote out Taylor, and it's like, whatever, we go on our merry way. No. So, okay. Turner pulled Daniel aside before the power veto ceremony, and he's like, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm not putting Taylor up on the block. She's been through too much already this season. I'm not going to do that to her. I just wouldn't feel right being a part of that. So Turner did not mention who would be going up. That's important to remember. And as I told you guys yesterday, this conversation with Daniel was pre-planned by the Leftovers. They're testing to see who Daniel spreads this information to, if anyone. It also puts a target on Daniel because it's going to cause suspicion about him when his allies find out that he knew ahead of time. Very smart gameplay there by the Leftovers. I like what I see. I just remembered I forgot to thank our super chatters. I'll do that in a second. So we had the power veto ceremony. Brittany and Michael used the power veto on themselves, of course, as one does. And Turner put up Terrence and Amira in their places. So we know Amira is the target, and the Leftovers have the votes to evict her. You need 6 votes to evict this week. I also want to mention Turner called out the disgusting behavior towards Taylor during his nomination speech, and that was like a huge thing for the rest of the day. Everybody's like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, who's being so mean to Taylor? What? Come on. Oh my god, we'll get there. But after the ceremony, the non-Leftovers half of the house was shocked, except for Nicole, who's claiming that she had a feeling that like something like this was going to happen. Sure you did. So they're all assuming that Terrence will be going, and Terrence is saying he's not going to campaign against Amira. He wants her to stay. Oh my god. He has since changed his position on that. He will be campaigning to stay. Like I mentioned yesterday, I feel like he just assumed that it was a done deal and that Amira would have the votes to stay. So he's like, yeah, I think you should be the one to stay. Like, I'll just bow out gracefully. But then he realized, like, that's not the case. And he was like, oh, I should probably fight to stay. So it was funny because Amira and Jasmine and all of them, Terrence, they think that Indy is responsible for Amira and Terrence going up on the block. No. I gotta say, the Leftovers were doing a fantastic job yesterday of acting like they had no idea what was going on. They were doing a great job keeping everybody on their toes, keeping their new alliance hidden. So I gotta give them a round of applause for that because they really freaking killed it. A++++++++. Okay, so before we get into the new stuff, I want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that's a fantastic way to support our channel. So Alex Garza, Alex Paredes, Amy Glassner, Sean Davis, Jessica Noe, Gabe L, Jefferson Tucker, Angela H, Music Lover 21, Tammy L, Edward Guzman, Jefferson Tucker, and Diane Honor. Thank you all so much for your super chats yesterday. Yay! And I want to thank our super chatters so far today. Andre Slimbaria, thank you so much. And Andre says, oh my god, these past few days, I know, right? It's been wild. Alex Garza, thank you so much for the super chat and for the unicorn. Joey Rohrer, thank you so much. And Joey says Nicole and Daniel fighting was great. I know, right? I can't wait to talk about that. Deb Wicks, thank you so much for your super chat. And she says, love your updates. Great job. This season may not be a bust after all. I know, right? Things have really turned around, and I could not be happier about that because it was looking really bleak for a while. But I got to give huge props for Turner for following through on this plan, because a lot of people would like go along with the planning on it and then like went bad at the last second. But he followed through. He really stood up for Taylor and went to bat for her in his nomination speech. I will say a lot of the members of the leftovers were not exactly innocent earlier in the season. They did also partake in the Taylor bashing, but I think they've really seen the light here. And I think that Taylor has really turned it around. So I'm very impressed and very excited. Okay, so Turner was chatting with Terrence in the backyard. We missed the beginning of this conversation on the feeds, but they are discussing why they think Amira ended up choosing Terrence as her festy bestie over Jasmine. Because remember, it came down to Amira and Turner as the last two in the HOH competition. And then Amira had the choice between Terrence and Jasmine. You'd think she'd choose Jasmine, right? Because they're like so close or whatever. But Turner says Amira probably picked you because she knew that you and I are close. And she probably thought that there was no way she would go up on the block with me as HOH because I wouldn't want to put you up. And Terrence's like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because Terrence and Turner are actually very close. So Turner says, if there's anyone that I don't want to go home, it's you. I don't talk to Amira at all. So Turner brings up this situation last week where he was asking Amira in the storage room about her vote. And her response was, we don't talk game. Yikes. So that really stung. He wasn't a fan of that. And that's one of the reasons she's up on the block. Or it's at least one of the reasons that he's giving. He doesn't want to reveal, oh, I'm in the leftovers now, and we feel like Amira is the head of the other side of the house, and blah, blah, blah. They're not going to say all that. He's not going to do that. So this is the reason that he is giving. Okay. And I mean, it's a legit reason, right? So he also tells Terrence, like, Amira is probably one of the best players in this house. Apparently not. But Terrence says, you got to do what you got to do. I've got you until the end. We're good. So then Turner lets Terrence know the beginning of my speech, the stuff about Taylor, that was not directed towards you. Turner says he's heard people call Taylor a bitch and say they want to throw food in her face. And Turner says, as a victim of bullying himself, he just couldn't put Taylor up on the block. He didn't want to do that. So this is another thing that Turner, I mean, he's honest about it. Like, this is actually a factor that he took into account, but also like this is something that he's really trying to push with everyone outside of the leftovers, to give them a reason why Taylor is not up on the block. So Terrence says, yeah, I think it was a good decision on your part. I respect it. They talk about how Taylor has been vilified in this house. I mean, there's so many things that people freak out at Taylor for saying that if somebody else said it, it'd be no thing, right? So Terrence says, you really gave the whole house smelling salt and told everybody to wake up. So then Turner is telling Terrence, like, look, I think this week is going to be a situation like last week where the stronger player ends up getting evicted. So, like, no offense, but Amira is considered to be a stronger player than Terrence. So Turner says also, like, I know if Amira had won HOH, I would have been up on the block. So I have good reason to want her out of here. So Terrence is wondering, like, do you think I would actually have the votes to stay against her? He feels like he's kind of an outcast. Like, he just doesn't fit in with everybody else. That's so sad. I would love to see Terrence end up like working with the leftovers, because I feel like he's just like in with the wrong crowd right now. So Turner does not reveal to Terrence that he already has the votes locked for Terrence to stay, but he does reassure Terrence, like, look, I'm going to be pushing for you to stay this week. I'm in your corner. We're all good. All right. Meanwhile, Amira, Brittany, and Jasmine are in the Jetsons' bedroom. And Jasmine's like, I'm so upset right now. She says, I effing want Indy gone. And Amira's like, it was Indy, wasn't it? Like, she's the reason that I'm up on the block right now. And Jasmine says, yeah, Turner could not target Indy because of the Festy Besties twist. You know, Indy is paired up with Alyssa, and Turner would not want to put Alyssa up on the block. So Jasmine goes on to say, Indy was the one who called Taylor a bitch. She was basically bullying her, saying she wanted to throw soup in Taylor's face. Yeah, because Indy's the only one who's talking crap about Taylor. Right. So again, Jasmine is saying since Turner couldn't go for Indy, he went for the next best. She tells Amira, you know, Turner was saying that you're a good competitor. You could win this game with your hands tied behind your back. So, you know. So Jasmine says everybody was acting like they didn't know what was going on during that nomination ceremony. But Turner let her know that 3 people knew ahead of time. 3 people. But she says Turner only gave me one name. So Amira and Brittany are both like, oh my God, who was it? Like, give us the name, give us the tea. And Jasmine says, Daniel. So Amir's like, I knew that Daniel knew. So Jasmine clarifies, okay, Daniel knew that it wasn't going to be Taylor and Nicole going up on the block, but he did not know who the replacement nominee would be. So Amira's not too sure. She's like, you know what? I think that Daniel did know that it was going to be me going up. Daniel has not talked to me all day. That's pretty sus. Okay, so then Indy comes in. It's like super awkward. So then Jasmine really starts losing it because she's talking about how Taylor must feel weird not going up on the block this week. She's like, how would it feel to not get on the block? And you know, everybody has been kind of tense with you. It makes you feel like it's your fault that Amira and Terrence are up there because, like, you were supposed to be up there. And she says, either way, you're hurting Taylor. You know, now Taylor feels more uncomfortable because people are going to be mad at her that Terrence and Amira are up on the block and not her. Girl, that is a reach. That's a reach. I can't. She's trying to say that now Turner is hurting Taylor's feelings by not putting her up on the block. Like, what? So Indy says Taylor must be doing something right because she's getting a 3rd chance right now. So they talk about how the bullying situation must have played a big part in it because Turner has opened up to some of the house guests about his upbringing. He's had to deal with like a lot of abuse, domestic violence, and like bullying. So he is very sensitive to that. And you know, he brought it up in his nomination speech. So then Brittany's like, well, why didn't Daniel go up? And like, why would Turner tell Daniel before? Brittany's really playing it up here. Like, she didn't know what was going on. She's doing a good job. So Indy says, Daniel told me that he had no idea. You think he knew before? And Jasmine says, oh, I know that he knew because Turner told her. So Jasmine says, you can't trust nobody in this game. I'm too real for this. Daniel is an effing liar. It sounds like the leftovers plan is working. So Jasmine scoots away. And then Amira is still talking to Indy and Brittany. And Amira's like, do you think I'm Turner's target? And Brittany's like, it kind of sounded like it based on Turner's speech. Uh-oh. So Brittany points out, you know, in the speech, Turner only really listed one reason for Terrence going up, that they don't talk game, but he had more to say about Amira, apparently. So that being said, Brittany's like, I don't know what's going on. Nobody talked to me this week while I was on the block, except for you girls. Again, Brittany's playing it up because she's part of the leftovers. She knew what was going on here. Also, even though Amira suspects that she may be Turner's target, she still thinks that she has the votes locked up to stay. Okay, so a little later, Monty, Nicole, oh my God, this is where it's going to get insane. So Monty, Nicole, Amira, Alyssa, and Michael are chatting in the Jetsons' bedroom. So if you look at that, they're just one Kyle away from Pose Pack being all together. So Michael is telling Amira, you've got the numbers to stay this week. He's lying. So they're trying to figure out why Amira and Terrence are on the block this week because it just feels like, oh my God, so random. So Amira tells them about the storage room incident from last week when Turner was asking her how she was going to vote. Are you going to vote out Pooch? And she was like, oh, I was just caught off guard because we don't really talk game. But she says she did give him an answer. And I guess after the fact, like Turner came up to her and apologized for asking her like so aggressively. And she says, I didn't think much of it, but I guess Turner like held on to that interaction. So then Indy comes in and sits down. Keep this in mind. Indy is in the room. So Amira's like, keep it for later. Amira's like, I feel like Turner must have people backing him up on this move because it's like just such a random move if he did this without talking to anyone about it. So Nicole's like, you think so? She says too many people were effing shocked. They fooled you. So Nicole says Daniel was shocked. He didn't know. She doth protest too much. But she says, Daniel told me that he talked to Turner this morning and he said everything was good to go. She says Daniel was pissed. And Mira's like, okay, but like Daniel has not talked to me since I've been nominated. This is really bugging her. Amira thinks that people knew ahead of time what was going to happen. The leftovers. So Monty's like, well, what can we do for you? Like, what do you need from us? And Amira says, I just want to find out what's going on here. So she's also asking, like, so do I have your votes? And they're all like, okay. So then they're talking more about why Turner did this. And Alyssa's like, well, I heard that Turner told someone that Indy was his target, but he likes me as a person, and I'm besties with Indy, so he didn't put us up. But like Indy was the one who, and she was about to start talking about like how Indy was the one talking crap about Taylor. But then Alyssa looks over at Indy, who she must have forgotten was in the room. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like you could see it on her face. She was just like, and then she just starts word vomiting and she's like, I don't know where Turner's head is at. Like he told somebody that Indy, you and I were an option to go up on the block, so we have to keep that in mind. Like I don't know if we can trust Turner. So then you look over and you just see Nicole puts her head in her hands because that information came from Nicole and Amira. So Alyssa effed up saying that in front of Indy. She forgot she was in the room. So the group splits up and Nicole is pissed. Nicole tells Amira and Monty, Alyssa needs to stop doing that shit. She threw me under the effing bus. What's wrong with her? I'm not telling her anything ever again. I'm done. And she's saying this like pretty loudly, and there are other people around who are not involved in this. So she says, I can't effing trust anybody in this effing house. And she says this as she storms out to the backyard. And in my head, I'm just thinking, if only Nicole knew all of the important stuff that Alyssa has been spilling to Kyle that led to this power shift. I mean, a huge part of getting people on board to join the Leftovers Alliance was Kyle being able to share the information that was leaked to him from Alyssa. Okay, so Nicole goes out to the hammock and she gets dumped by it. Not once, but twice. Pure comedy on the hammock's part. So then Daniel comes over. He pulls up his little beanbag to sit on and he tries to chat with Nicole. And Nicole's like, can you just give me 5 minutes, please? Thank you. Oh my God. So as Daniel walks away, he's like, well, F me then, I guess. So he's pretty upset that Nicole wouldn't chat with him. But Nicole says to herself, I hate everybody. What's the point of an alliance if you just get thrown under the bus? I'm so sick of this shit. So then Amira and Monty, like a minute later, come over to sit with Nicole. Apparently they're allowed to. So Amira's like, did Alyssa know what was going to happen? Like, what's going on here? And Nicole starts ranting loudly about what Alyssa just did. She says, she's throwing me under the bus. And she says, for the record, I never said that that was Turner's plan to put up Indy, but he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to put Alyssa on the block. But Nicole says, that's just what I thought he would do. So Nicole says this is the third time Alyssa has slipped up like this that you know about. It's been more than that, and it's been much more important information. So Monty, Amira, and Nicole all agree they're paranoid about Alyssa now. Nicole says, we cannot tell her anything. Now, Indy is going to be hounding Alyssa about who told her that information. And if Alyssa tells Indy that it was me, this whole house is going to blow up. So Monty is trying to like massage the situation. And he's like, do y'all feel like Alyssa has anything to do with like what's happened so far this week? You know, with like Turner putting Terrence and Amira up on the block? Plant those seeds, Monty. So Nicole seems to think it was a separate incident, but it's still not okay. Amira seems to be a little bit suspicious. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe Alyssa did like say something to Turner that made this happen. Who knows? Who knows what Alyssa has been spilling behind closed doors? Okay, so then Alyssa comes over and joins them. Yikes. And it doesn't seem like she realizes yet what she's walking into. But eventually she's like, I didn't know that Indy was in there. I just had to do some serious damage control. I'm so sorry. So Nicole's like, Alyssa, you threw me under the bus. And Alyssa's like, how? So Nicole says, I'm the one who said those words to you. And Alyssa's like, yeah, but like, how is Indy going to know that? She says, I promise I'll do damage control. And Alyssa's like, I'm so sorry. I genuinely had no idea. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I think she probably will. So Amira says, Alyssa needs to be careful what she says to people. So then Nicole starts telling them, look, I'm going to be having a game chat tomorrow with Taylor. And I want you guys to know, if I ever win HOH, R6 is solid. I'm going to make sure we're all good. But if Taylor wins HOH, there's only so much that I'm going to be able to say to her to try and influence her. So, yeah, she's just putting that out there. Sorry, I got distracted by Child of God. Okay. So then Nicole's telling them, if you guys want Taylor out of this house, you have to win HOH. I'm not throwing any more competitions. I did not like that feeling. You guys have to win and take her out if that's what you want. So then Nicole starts rewriting history. She's talking about how welcoming the women have been towards Taylor. Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, we've seen it all. We've been watching the feeds. We know. So anyway, after this conversation, Monty fills in Michael, Kyle, and Joe about what just happened. He lets them know Nicole and Amira are suspicious about Alyssa now, and they love it. And so do I. Okay. So then Nicole comes in and pulls Monty out of this conversation. And she's like, I need help doing damage control with Daniel. He's pissed at me because I brushed him off before. He's heated. I don't know if she even picked up on like those 3 dudes chatting, or actually 4 dudes chatting. I feel like she should have been like kind of nervous about that, but she didn't notice. Okay. So then a little later, I guess she had a lot in her mind because Daniel is upset with her. So Nicole and Daniel chat in the Jetsons' bedroom, and Nicole is explaining how Alyssa just slipped up. She spilled me and Amira's exact words, and Daniel's just like, so why is it okay for Alyssa to talk to you and I can't? Sorry, like really, he's really upset by this. Oh my God. So Nicole like stands up and she's like getting closer to Daniel's face to try and explain herself. And Daniel's like, don't stand up. Don't do that. So then Nicole apologizes and she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Like blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then Daniel says, I need to know why I could not speak to you, but then 4 other people could within a minute. Why were you not talking to me? So, oh, he's jealous. So Nicole says, well, I had to talk to them first because they were all in the room together with me. We were all a part of that. So Nicole says, there's another problem right now. People think that Turner told some people, Daniel, what he was going to do with these nominations. So Daniel's like, who cares? We're not on the block. So then Nicole's saying, well, you should talk to Amira because she's kind of upset that you haven't talked to her yet. Like, she just wants to hear from you, whatever. And Daniel's like, well, I don't want to. I don't have to effing do that. He's pissed that when this whole conversation went down at the hammock, talking about what Alyssa did. So after Daniel got brushed off, he was talking to people in the kitchen and saying, like, oh, Nicole doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. And Amira, hearing this, still went ahead and talked to Nicole at the hammock, even though Daniel said that Nicole needed a few minutes alone. So Daniel's like, F her, that's not right, blah, blah, blah. You can't make this up. Oh my God. So Daniel does end up talking to Amira later. Whatever. Okay, so then Daniel was telling Nicole how he's dealt with situations like this in real life where he's like loyal to people, he's giving it his all, like opening up to people, and then they do not give him the same thing back. So he's like, I've dealt with this with like friends, girlfriends, bands, all that stuff. And Nicole's like, well, that's not what this is. She says, my alliance is with you. My final 2 is with you. I have not and will not betray you. Somebody put my game on the line and it needed to be addressed immediately. So she tells Daniel, I'm truly sorry. I never meant to make you feel this way. I never want to make you feel this way. And my game was questioned in front of my face. So she gets kind of loud with that. And Daniel's like, don't yell at me. Go yell at Alyssa, not me. So Nicole is going on and on about how her alliance with those people, she's talking about the post-Pac alliance, cannot be trusted. So then Nicole starts talking about how she wants to vote out Amira this week and keep Terrence. What? Okay, so she's telling Daniel, like, you and I are going to be safe moving forward, so we're all good. Actually, you two are the next 2 targets for the leftovers. But Daniel is telling her, like, okay, well, if you want to vote out Amira, then why not do it? Like, why is this such an issue? Nicole's like, well, I'm not sure that the numbers are there. Oh, they are, with or without you. So then at one point, while Daniel and Nicole are talking, Alyssa comes in and she's apologizing for her slip up. She's saying, I made a mistake. I want to work with you guys. She ends up crying during this conversation. Nicole's telling her, just be careful. It's okay. It happens, blah, blah, blah. But Daniel is just sitting there during this conversation silently. It's like so awkward. And then I believe after Alyssa left the room, Daniel was all like, who the F cares? So he and Nicole ended up chatting for a little bit more after that. They ended up hugging by the end of the conversation, but some damage has been done there. Okay, so things calmed down a bit after that. Amira last night was still trying to figure out like how she ended up on the block. I mean, there were lots of accusations thrown all throughout that side of the house, that non-leftover side of the house. She's really suspicious that Daniel and Nicole knew what was going to happen beforehand, because she was like, well, Turner must have told Daniel, and Daniel definitely would have told Nicole. Yeah. So all that being said, Amira thinks that she still has the votes to stay. Oh my God. Also last night, the house guests rewriting history about their treatment of Taylor. Everybody's wondering, who was the one that was really bullying Taylor? Like, what was going on? Why did Turner say that in his speech? Oh my God. And the leftovers were giving the performance of their lives, acting confused, acting like they didn't know what was going to happen. I have to say, they were also doing a really great job of checking in with each other, just a few people at a time, keeping each other updated on what was going on. So they're like really working together well right now. Yay! Also, Taylor got a lot of time in yesterday just relaxing and lounging in the backyard. Woo! I'm really happy happy for her because she's had a rough time in this house so far. Okay, so later on, Turner and Amira finally have a chat, and Turner clarifies that the part of his nomination speech addressing the bullying was not about her or Terrence. He says, I was explaining why Taylor was not going up, but that was not attached to you and Terrence. You guys are up there strictly for game reasons. He said, I didn't do a good enough job like separating the first half of my speech from the second half. So yeah. They discussed the storage room incident from last week. Amira is like, I didn't know you were still hung up on that. You know, I wish we could have talked about that before. And Turner, during this conversation, is really trying to play it off like he does not have a target. He's like, it's up to the house to decide. It's out of my hands at this point. Right. So Amira says she will be campaigning for herself this week, but she's not going to campaign against Terrence. Okay, fair enough, right? So this is where it gets a little weird because after this conversation, Amira has kind of like concocted this thing in her head that Turner didn't really say, but she seems to think that he basically said it. So Amira is now spreading around the house that Turner regrets his decision of putting Terrence and Taylor up on the block and saying like he made a mistake and he really wanted to put up Alyssa and Indy. No. I just realized that earlier on in this video, this stream, I was talking about the nomination ceremony when I meant the Power Veto ceremony. I don't even remember what day it is anymore. My bad. So anyway, she's saying, oh yeah, Turner actually wanted to put up Indy and Alyssa, but like, you know, he couldn't because of Alyssa, and then there are only so many duos left, so now it's me and Terrence up on the block. Girl, he had reasons. Okay, so today, Alyssa let Amira know that Kyle had a little chat with her, and he said that he just wants to be friends for now. He doesn't want to go for that showmance. He wants to focus on the game. They can see what happens in jury or after the show. So it definitely seemed like Alyssa was disappointed, but I'm wondering, is she still going to continue to leak information to Kyle? I wouldn't be surprised. Also, I don't see these two dating after the show's over with everything that's gone down. I mean, the way that Kyle used that information from Alyssa to turn this whole game around and like will probably at some point cause Alyssa to be evicted. Maybe like they would get together in jury before she finds out about all that. But if I don't see them getting together after the show. I just don't see it. Anyway, moving on. Brittany and Taylor had a game chat today, and they were talking about what they want to do moving forward. And they both would like to target Daniel next, and then Nicole. Woo! So for this week, they're talking about how Amira thinks that she has the votes to stay. They're going to keep letting her think that because, number one, it's just easier. But also, they want to keep this a blindside. You know, it's better to have it be a surprise at the end of the week. Keep your enemies on their toes and got to keep that Leftovers alliance hidden, right? So as much as they want to tell Terrence that he's good this week, they don't want to spill the beans to him. They are hoping for a split vote this week so that they can keep their alliance hidden, because if it's a split vote, people are going to be losing their minds trying to figure out how everybody voted. You know, people can lie about their votes, all that stuff. So they also discussed a little bit how they would like to go to the final 3 together with Michael. Oh my God, please. That would be wonderful. I'd love it. All right. So as we stand right now, we've got 2 days left until the eviction. As of right now, Amira is still going, and she still does not know it yet. This week has really ended up being way more exciting than I thought it would be. It's giving me Big Brother Canada 10 vibes. Hello.
Oh, hi. I just crashed into the wall.
Oh, no.
I was
Are you okay?
I guess I'll survive.
All right, good. It's reminding me of Big Brother Canada 10, where like at the beginning of the week we're like, oh, this person won HOH, and then they would do something insane, and we're like, holy crap, yeah! So it feels like that, right, Bowie? Yes!
That is so exciting.
You loved BB Can 10. All right.
So good.
So I want to thank all of our super chatters because you guys are amazing. So Andres Lombaria, thank you again. Alex Garza, thank you so. Oh wait,
You
yeah, I already said that. Okay, Alex Garza, thank you so much. Joey Rohrer, thank you so much. Deb Wicks, thank you so much. Vajra, thank you so much for the super chat. And Vajra says, just got caught in the rain during a walk. Oh, actually felt pretty nice and refreshing to cool down, except for the soggy shoes. Came inside to dry off with a side of spoilers. Woo! I hope you enjoyed your walk. It is nice to walk in the rain every once in a while, if it's not pouring.
You don't have electronics on you.
Yeah, that too. Thank you so much as always. Sean Davis, thank you so much for your super chat. And Sean says, it was funny when Taylor, Brittany, Michael, and Kyle were comforting Amira when they all knew the plan. I know, right? I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face, Oscar worthy. Same. I would just be like losing it in the corner. Or I would just be so awkward that they would know something was up. But seriously, the leftovers have been killing it with the acting so far. Le Pink, thank you so much for the super chat. And they said, thanks to you and your mom for doing this for so long. Puppet show anytime soon? I had to be the first to ask. Oh, thank you so much for watching. I don't think we're going to be doing any puppet shows. I'm sorry, but I hope you treasure the ones that we've done in the past.
The cringe shows.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them, but apparently if you are in the puppet show, maybe you didn't enjoy it so much.
You mean like if you were one of the house guests?
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun to put together, but it's definitely something that we've moved past at this point. But thank you again so much. Victoria King, thank you so much for your super chat. And Victoria says, thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for watching. Child of God, woo! Thank you so much. And they said, Team God and rooting for the leftovers. Thanks to you and your lovely mom. You both make me smile. P.S. My username is not influenced by Julie. Oh my God. I definitely thought you were making a Julie joke. I'm so sorry. But thank you again for making me laugh.
Go in peace.
Yes. Love one another. No, seriously, thank you so much. Okay. Skylar Brown, thank you so much for the super chat. And Skylar says, thank you for all your hard work. Thanks for watching. Super Pretty Mess, thank you for your super chat. Gabe L, thank you. And Gabe says, can't wait for Amira's blindside butter beans. I know. Gabe L. Yeah. Gabe L, thank you so much. And Gabe says, Daniel seems like a big jerk, always plays the victim. Yeah. He doesn't like to own up to things that he has said and done.
That seems to be a theme in this house.
It really does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sean Davis, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, drinking game for how many times leftovers was said at dinner. They've been throwing it around quite a bit, and I hope nobody blows it. SBABULA. Thank you so much. And they said, kudos to Turner for having the guts. I know, right? He really turned things around. Nicole Diop, thank you so much. And they said, love you. Oh, please tell my bestie Sarah Saylor happy birthday. Sarah Saylor, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Hope you're living your best day, week, month, year, lifetime of birthday happiness.
Absolutely. Hope you have a great day. And that's where we're at right now. So I'm out of breath. Thank you all so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow for more. I'm sure the rest of this week will also be nuts. So
It's
popping off. So thank you for being here. And until next time, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.